So we've got news that Mike Johnson has now stated that Congress needs to be able to trade stocks to feed their families.
Yeah, we've got all of this concern right now over potential insider trading because we have a lot of people very close to Donald Trump that sold a lot of their stocks right before he was announcing the tariffs for Liberation Day. Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of them. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, is one of them that just came out within the last week or two. So insider trading with members of Congress, members of the administration, big in the news right now. So Mike Johnson wants to get ahead of it, even though he's already way far behind it. And he comes out and he says, listen, we're just humble members of Congress here, okay? We make a living just like everybody else. $174,000 a year is our salary. We can't eat on that. We can't support a family. If we want to be able to have any kind of a life, we have to trade stocks, which doesn't sit well with the American public, as a vast majority of them want Congress to not be involved in any kind of stock trading. But this is the levels to which these people have sunk. Trying to first argue that $174,000 a year, more than $100,000 more than the average family makes in a year, is not enough to support a family. They have better health care in Congress, cheaper health care. They get stipends for food, for travel, for lodging in D.C. So that $174,000 base salary doesn't include the tens of thousands of dollars in perks per year that they receive. And to argue that we basically have to engage in insider trading or else we can't survive, that is an insult to every single working class family in this country.
Well, and they certainly could hold stock in a blind trust where they don't know what it's being invested in. So I don't think anybody wants them to lose all stock options and go into the poorhouse. But the idea that you're actively trading when you sit on an intelligence agency or when you know that, hey, there's a tariff coming against this country, so buy that stock, sell that stock. And I can't think of any job in the world, much less in America, where you have a high 60% disapproval, where 65% of your bosses think you're bad at your job, and you're saying, I don't get paid enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to go survey your staff right now and 65% came back and said, Caleb, we just don't like you. We don't think you're doing a good job. Like, you would internalize that and be like, okay, wow. What am I doing that is so awful? His staff would absolutely not say that about him. He's a great guy. But Congress doesn't look at that, or they don't think about it, right? They look, okay, well, people don't like what I'm doing, so what the hell? I'm just going to be even more corrupt and stupid because I know in 2 years, I'm going to go back to them. I'm going to give them the same flowery pitch. I'm going to say, oh, I got to watch out for Nancy Pelosi over here. She's so evil. And they'll vote for me again. And they do. That's the problem. It's not just that these people in D.C. are so corrupt that they do this out in the open with the insider trading. Beating the market, by the way, sometimes by hundreds of percentage points, some members of Congress do. Beat the market returns. So, and this is, Democrats get about a 31% higher return on their stocks than the regular market. Republicans are at 29%. So it's almost dead even according to the most recent report. But the people in these districts that go back to the polls every 2 years and say, yep, let's send them back, let's send them back, let's send them back. You're part of the problem at this point. And I do think, I hate to shame voters, but the blame has to lie with somebody. It's not just that we have these corrupt people. It's that the corrupt people keep going back every 2 years because the voters are just sending them right back. Great, we got George Santos, we got Menendez out of the Senate. 2 truly corrupt individuals going to prison. There's plenty more, though. They may not have done something worthy of going to prison, but they have done plenty that is worthy of not going back to Congress.
Well, certainly this is a position of service and of public trust, not to get wealthy, not to get richer. And so many go up there and get richer while they're there. Truly, there's a problem with the system, and I hope that there's some legislation that comes. But you're asking the people that are benefiting from the system to reform the system.
Right. It's the same problem with term limits, too. Hey, we need term limits for these people. Unfortunately, the people who would have to vote on that are the ones who've been there 20, 30 years in some cases, and they're not going to vote to end their own career. So we're once again at the mercy, unless the voters take action and replace them with somebody who says, listen, I will do what you need me to do. You want to ban stock trading among members of Congress? We'll do it. This person in the seat right now will not. I will. That's what we need.